The headline medical stories that affect you and your family. This is What's Happening in Health.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to What's Happening in Health. So grateful to be sharing some of your Sunday morning. Got a great show for you today. Topping it off, there is a special event coming up. It supports research and education to help reduce the risk of an often silent illness. Joining us from the Ovarian Cancer Alliance of Cincinnati, we welcome Diane Weidman and Mary Jane Klug. We are so grateful they are here. They're going to share just how they are saving lives in our community. And each year, an organization that provides a safe place for families who need prenatal care also hold a special event. Joining us from CareNet, as we know them, we welcome Executive Director Lindy Zembrodt and Program Coordinator Katrina Harris-Green. Both are here to share more on their faith-based mission. But first, our top story in this half hour is in your healthy future. New study shows the shingles shot helps reduce the risk for future memory concerns by up to 20%. It's giving many hope who are tirelessly working to support dementia and Alzheimer's prevention. Those who attend this Ohio's Mimosas for Memories brunch event each year often know what a difference hope makes in these conditions.
My mom died at the age of 63 from early onset Alzheimer's.
The event raises money for programs which support families with memory-related conditions.
People are just welcome to show up as they are. There's no expectations, there's no hyperfixation on the disease process. It's just being a human together.
But until researchers can discover a cure, prevention is critical, which is why this new study on the shingles vaccine is such encouraging news. Dr. Stephen Blatt told me it's now recommended for everyone ages 50 and older to lower the risk of shingles.
So shingles is a painful skin rash, eruption that occurs when the chickenpox virus reactivates itself.
Researchers in this study analyzed health records of adults ages 71 to 88 years old. They discovered in the 7 years that followed, those given the shingles vaccine were 20% less likely to develop dementia. It's tough to be sure why this was true from this trial, but Dr. Blatt says,
well, because it's a virus that we know lives in your central nervous system, it may be intermittently reactivating it a little bit and damaging your central nervous system, so the vaccine prevents it from doing that.
Until we know more, those who've experienced the long goodbye with someone due to Alzheimer's or dementia tell us they find joy in
living, not letting one day pass me by.
There's some great advice, huh? Mimosas for Memories is coming up in just a couple of weeks. If you'd like more information or like to register, go to what'shappeninginhealth.com. All right, on now to our wonderful friends from the Ovarian Cancer Alliance. Remind us who you are and what you do.
I'm Diane Weidman. I'm the co-chair of the Ovarian Cancer Alliance of Greater Cincinnati.
And she is a woman of passion, is she not?
Yes.
Yes. So you brought friends, and are you a survivor?
I am a survivor. I'm Mary Jane Klug, and I was diagnosed 3 years ago and have fought it twice in that 3 years.
Bless you.
And I am on the board with Diane.
Well, you do some wonderful work. Share just a little bit about your mission for us.
So the Ovarian Cancer Alliance of Greater Cincinnati, it's a local all-volunteer charity. We have no office, no employees, no overhead. So 99% of all of our expenditures go to our mission. The mission is very simple. Number one, we want to raise awareness of ovarian cancer and educate about ovarian cancer because no one knows the symptoms and there's no early detection. So unfortunately, 85% of the cases are diagnosed at late stages of stage 3 and stage 4. So that leaves us with a survivorship rate, only 46% 5-year survivorship. The second thing we want to do is support our survivors. We have mentoring programs, we do survivor socials to get the survivors together to support each other. And the third thing that we do is to raise funds for research for a cure. So in the last 10 years, we have donated over $2.5 million to research for a cure. This year alone was $225,000. Wow. So, you know, we hope that, you know, we can make a difference in terms of helping the women that are fighting this disease and helping the future women that may be diagnosed with this disease.
No question. And as I recall, you are a long-term survivor.
I am now a 14.5-year survivor.
Wow.
I was diagnosed, and at that time I thought I probably had about 6 months to live. You know, my youngest son was a senior in college, and I thought, well, I guess this is it. I guess they're all off and taking care of themselves and doing great. And then here I am with my 3 sons married and just had my 5th grandchild. He's now 4 months old.
Boy or girl?
So yeah, a boy. So we have 3 girls and 2 boys, and from the age of 5 to 4 months, there are 5 of them.
Wow.
So it's a lot of fun at our house.
So isn't that a miracle you love to hear? Does it encourage you just to be with other survivors?
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tell me a little bit about your story, because I know you said this is often sort of a silent illness. Where did you have symptoms, or?
So no, I did not. I've had a long history of having kidney stones. I had a massive kidney stone January 22, and when they did the CAT scan, they came back and they said, "We see it, but we see a mass in your lower abdominal cavity." And that was the day my world just turned upside down. Like somebody just hit you right in the face with a frying pan. Wasn't sure what was going to happen, and had surgery and 5.5, 6 months of chemotherapy. I always talk about this journey as like people walk through life blissfully ignorant. They have no idea how great life is until that day happens, and it was quite a journey. I'm like Diane. I thought to myself, my God, I know we're not getting out of life living, but this could be sooner than what I think. My youngest was just turning 20 years old then, and I was like, this just can't be it. So you just put on your big girl panties every day and you say, I'm gonna make it. And I had tons of people praying for me, still till this day. So I made it 22 months cancer-free, and then last spring, I had a few inklings. I'll go backwards. I'll tell you that I had no symptoms when I was diagnosed, and I was stage 3C. And I was like, well, what comes after that? He said stage 4 and no symptoms. So thank God I had that kidney stone, because it really did save my life.
Whoever thanks God for a kidney stone. My goodness, yeah, God bless you. That is quite a story. Thank you for sharing it with us. It is very hopeful. A couple things that we know is that you provide all these services, and you got to raise funds for those. So each year you do this wonderful event that is a gala. Tell me about this year's. We have a few photos of your
So
event.
we have our Jeans and Jewels Gala is coming up next Saturday, April the 26th. And it's at Receptions in Fairfield, and from 6 to 10 at night. And this is where we, last year we had 263 people and raised over $200,000 to put to research and to fund our mission. And we do this through, we have food stations, so it's basically all you can eat. We have a live auction, which some incredible items in there. We have a silent auction there's 85 items in the silent auction. We have raffles. We have split the pot. Actually, split the pot. The person went home with over $1,000 last year.
Well,
so,
there's a fun night.
Yeah, so it'd be a really fun
We
night.
have a graphic that tells us the date and location one more time. This is the symptom graphic, so if you could go to the next one. There we go. The Jeans and Jewels Gala, by the way, I love the name, have been there, and it's so much fun. It's kind of, you can wear whatever you want. Yeah. And then we do want to make sure, one of your goals is to educate, that we share that beat graphic. And it is interesting that you didn't have any symptoms, so, in some ways, but I know it's for bloating, it's for eating difficulties, and then what are the final two, Diane?
The eating difficulties is feeling full quickly, and then A is abdominal pain, and T is trouble with urination, whether incontinence or urgency. And as you can see, those symptoms, the majority of the women go to a primary care doctor. I mean, I went to a GI doctor who basically said to me, kind of like Mary Jane, you're pretty asymptomatic. Let's just do an ultrasound. And they saw fluid around the uterus, and then they said, "Whoa, you got to go to the gynecologist." And they did a vaginal ultrasound. They said, "Oh, the ovaries look good, but we see fluid around the uterus." And they did a CA-125. That's the only thing we have right now is this blood test, and it's not good for everybody. But mine was 1,100, so now they're thinking maybe ovarian cancer. And they did a CAT scan. They said, "Well, we see things around the omentum, but the ovaries look good." Final surgery, hysterectomy. They said, "Well, the ovaries look good, but it's probably primary peritoneal cancer." 3 days later, the pathology said tumors in both ovaries, ovarian cancer stage 3. So that's the issue with this disease. We really need research. We need research for a cure and for early detection. People think, oh, I get a pap smear every year. I've heard that so many times. I'm good, I get a pap smear every year. It has nothing to do with ovarian cancer.
So we're going to put the Jeans and Jewels Gala information up one more time because you're making a difference with that. And your next scan, you told me, is the end of the month.
Yes.
And if people are watching, we want the date on that so we can put you on the prayer list.
It's April 28th. I'm getting a PET scan.
All right, you just got a whole bunch more people. We're up watching the show right before church, and we believe in the power of prayer.
Yes,
God bless
absolutely.
you. Please let us know. We'd love to have you back and share more about this as the journey goes on. We need to keep it out there. Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you,
for being
Liz. Thanks for
bold.
having us.
Yeah. Without you, we wouldn't change the world the way you guys are. Really, it's amazing. All right, just ahead, speaking of changing the world, your hearing in your heart, what a new study shows about a possible connection. And our team from CareNet is here. Lindy is going to be joining us, sharing a little bit more about their organization. And Katrina Harris Green, she helps with programming. We'll tell you about how they help families coming up on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Metro and Gastro Health.
And listen to this new study shows hearing loss might predict heart failure. A study in the journal Heart found people with hearing loss are 15% to 28% more likely to develop heart failure. Now, use of a hearing aid, they found, did not actually lower a person's risk of heart disease, but researchers say it may have to do with the isolation that comes with hearing loss because heart failure risk did increase as hearing loss progressed. All right, on now to our wonderful team from CareNet. We have worked with them before, but they are a faith-based ministry. They provide prenatal care to families. So tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Lindy Zimbert, and I'm the Executive Director at CareNet Pregnancy Services.
And so kind of a little bit about your mission. And
we provide help to men and women who face pregnancy, and we will help them with support. But we start first with some medical services that are very relevant to where they are within their pregnancy. And that is a pregnancy test and then an ultrasound to confirm that pregnancy. And from there, we're able to provide sexually transmitted disease treatment, testing, screening, and also we just added being able to help them with if they have a UTI. So we've expanded our medical services just a little bit, but through that process, they often will choose to carry their pregnancies. And we will then support them with the many programs that CareNet has to offer.
And I know we make no secret that you're a faith-based mission, so protecting life is part of your mission. And you do that through education. I do think that you are a low-pressure place, which I really appreciate. You know, you just kind of inform people. But tell me about some of those programs.
Absolutely. So my name is Katrina, and I'm the programs coordinator. We offer 40 educational programs at CareNet. We support families from prenatal all the way through the early years, all the way up through adolescence. We also work to encourage healthy families. So we support co-parenting as well as positive partnerships and other programs that can support the family unit as well.
Well, we have a way to help you do this because I know that you deliver all these services at no cost, and that's because you have a special event coming up. Let me talk to you a little bit about that, and let's show some pictures. Tell us a little bit about your annual event each year.
So it's one of the largest fundraising events for our agency, and we hold that in receptions at Erlanger. It's attended by over 800 people, so we have a full venue. And we always have a great speaker that evening. Lots of people that are like-minded will come together to support our mission.
It's interesting. I think someone that was helping you coordinate last year told me it's the largest fundraiser in Northern Kentucky every year, which is...
I believe so, as far as a sit-down dinner, yes.
It's quite an event, and I know you were there, and that's how you fund some of these programs, do you not?
Absolutely. So our programs are all free. There are no qualifying factors based on income or family dynamics. Simply, if you need help in raising your family, in increasing your knowledge as you prepare to become a mom or a dad, we are here to support you. And so all of these educational programs are made to just increase the family unit.
And you know, it's so important because they always say there's not really a manual for parenting. We could all benefit from that. But when you are alone, often maybe on your own, and don't have all the support you need, that can be life-changing.
Well, one of the great things about enrolling in a program is you are also getting the support of an entire organization. You're paired with a mentor who walks alongside you through your lessons and your education, and they are like your personal cheerleader. They are walking alongside you. They can share that life experience with you. We ask permission. We practice permission-based care with all of our clients, and so we have an opportunity to pray with our clients, to partner with them, to help them grow in their faith, as that is their desire to do so. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity. Besides increasing your educational knowledge, you're also gaining a friend and a supporter in your just really in your arsenal as you navigate this new stage of life.
Yeah, and it is a new stage of life. Okay, so let's talk about the evening. You have a guest speaker. How does it work? Where is it? That kind of thing.
Well, it's at Receptions in Erlanger, and if you are wanting to attend, you have to get a hold of us pretty soon because our seats fill up really quickly.
Yeah, Thursday, May 8th is the date on that, so it is coming up really soon, yeah. And I know it does fill up and they have a waiting list, so if you would like to attend, we'd love to have you reach out to them, and we will, of course, put a link inside what'shappeninginhealth.com. We also know that you have a number of organizations that support what you do, and we didn't tell them this today, but there's an organization that is over at our Monster for our teas here that actually does support them as well. So let's tell you about them just ahead, an organization that invites you to learn a new hobby that's good for body and soul. We're going to meet the team from Needle and Thread, Calvary Baptist Church, and we're going to ask you to stick around because some of what they made are for your little babies. Oh my goodness. Isn't that sweet? We're excited to have you here. Stay with us on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Northern Kentucky Area Development District.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to find out a little bit more about this wonderful team called Needle and Thread. They're from Calvary Baptist Church. Tell me your name.
Becky Brunner.
Christy Johnston.
Linda Moball.
Bev Stewart.
What's Needle and Thread, Bev Stewart?
Needle and Thread's a wonderful sewing group at Calvary Baptist. We're from all different churches all over the area. We even teach people to make quilts. I never made a quilt in my life before I joined Needle and Thread. And it's just a blessing to be with these ladies and have fellowship, but also to make these quilts that are so beautiful. And we donate those. And we get lots of donations, materials, just products that we can use for our sewing. A lot of veterans material, we kind of run short on that, but oh my goodness, the blessings of what the things are donated to our group are amazing. Everything you see on this table has been donated to our group, and we have made these things out of them, either the quilts or the booties.
So these are remarkable, and you do this as a mission, but doing these kind of things, and they will teach you to sew, like she said, she'd never been a quilt person, are actually things that are good for you to do for your health. From quilting, which allows you to make really beautiful things like this, to a whole bunch of other hobbies, and Prompter, if you could roll forward for me, that would be great. They include baking, things like that. Those are generous hobbies that can really help you make a healthy comeback.
If you are creative, an hour of creativity, no matter what the outcome is the same as taking one Xanax.
Jessica Mancake has figured out why. These grandma core hobbies, as they are often called, are kind of a quiet, slow hobby. They let you work at your own pace, and that can wipe away stress.
It is totally a mental health thing. It's getting out. There's no pressure. It's really nice.
And whether you want to be part of a free training group, such as those here at Needle and Thread at Kentucky's Calvary Baptist Church.
We just come together. Some of our ladies crochet, some of them knit, some of them make crafts and show us how to do things, or we learn how to make quilts.
Or you want to do other creative grandma core hobbies, such as gardening, baking, or even bird watching. These hobbies aren't just stress busters, but as many in this group know, they give you a feeling of accomplishment, which can add to your joy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I look forward to this. We didn't have a meeting on last Monday, and I missed it. Terrible.
Some refer to these as cozy hobbies. They're calming and allow your brain to reflect while you work.
I've sewed since I've been 9 years old. I'm a retired home ec teacher, so this fit right in. When I retired, I said, no, I'm not going to sew anymore. Well, that lasted about 1 year.
We love that. We want to give you some information if you are watching this and you think, hey, maybe I could do that for the summer. They meet every Monday at Calvary Baptist Church. We want to make sure that you can call this phone number if you'd like more information. It's 859-491-1955. Could we get that number there, guys? 1955 is the number. There we go. And the reason that we have you here today is that we have a wonderful team that is been making things for the banquet that you just heard about, but I didn't even know that. So we had you come today to present those little booties. Let's talk about that. Becky, what are the booties for?
The booties just represent that, this represents their little feet, their little life, and we hope that when a prospective mom looks down at that, she says, I want that booty on my baby's feet.
And I believe that you told me that's part of your theme from your banquet, right? So they've been making these for you, but you didn't know they were going to be here today to give them to you, did you?
No, I didn't. I did not. But we are so thrilled, and they're so beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. Yes.
So what does it mean? You probably can't really say this to a guest or a client the way you would with something like this, huh?
Well, I mean, we give a gift package to young ladies. Actually, they come back for pictures in a year with their baby. They get these quilts, and they are just so thrilled to have something that's been handmade. It means so much to them. The booties are going to be on the tables at the banquet, and these are a reminder of what we're working for as far as making healthy homes for babies and families. So we're really tickled that you all would be so kind as to gift us in this manner.
Wow, these are beautiful. How do you feel when you say and you think about that you're just doing this as a healthy hobby and somebody actually...
It fills your heart.
It does. It definitely fills your heart. And it's fun to create something for someone else.
Yeah, you know what? There is something about mission with a purpose, like what you do. All right, Bev, before we go, just say who can come to this? How do we, kind of participate and learn how to make quilts when we've never quilted?
We open our doors to anyone who is interested in sewing or even in crocheting. We find lots of things that we can do. Just anyone, any church. It doesn't have to be a Calvary Baptist member. It can be a member of any church. We have a lovely group of about 20 ladies that come, and we make things together. It's just so unique of how we can make some of these quilts and how beautiful they turn out from the fabric that's donated to us. It's just an opportunity to be with some other Christian ladies and just to learn how to do something new. It's amazing what we can do.
And all faiths are welcome, correct?
Yes.
Everything.
Yes, everyone.
So, Ms. Program Director, what will this do for you when you see these all here?
So our moms and our dads who come through our doors who aren't sure how they're going to navigate life with a new baby, this reminds them that they are not alone, that they have someone who thought of them and thought of the life that they are carrying and giving life to, and they are thought of, and they have a team of people who are willing to walk alongside them in this journey of parenthood. So thank you. Thank you for being that support person.
Well, you're amazing. Your ministry is not quiet, even though it seems like you just get together and do a little sewing there. So, all right, once again, if you'd like to reach out to this team, we'll put a link to where the church is at what'shappeninginhealth.com. And we hope if you're just thinking about it, that you will notice these things and how they make a difference. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for sharing your gifts with all of us. All right, just ahead, can you have too much coffee? There's a question we want to answer really early in the morning. We'll tell you and Ask a Nurse. Finally, this half hour, we want to leave you with our Ask a Nurse segment. If you're up at this hour, you may need some coffee. So we're asking, how much is too much when it comes to coffee? Is there such a thing? The team at the Cleveland Clinic that provided this video says you're likely drinking too much coffee if you get headaches from it, feel jittery or anxious, or it interferes with your sleep.
So guidelines are that we keep our caffeine intake under 400 milligrams a day. So on average, an 8-ounce cup of coffee has about 95 to 100 milligrams. So, that's close to about 4-5 cups a day, depending on the strength of the coffee.
If you do need to cut back, it is suggested that you cut back gradually. All right, just ahead in our next half hour, a change in focus to try and improve the health of hundreds in our community. We're going to share the changing mission from the Center for Closing the Health Gap in Healthy Diversity.
The headline medical stories that affect you and your family. This is What's Happening in Health, sponsored by Mayfield Braden Spine.
Morning, everybody, and welcome back to our second half hour here on What's Happening in Health. So grateful to have you joining us this Sunday morning. We got a great rest of the show for you today. The American Heart Association has a great event coming up to help save women's lives. Joining us in studio to share what it's all about, we want to welcome Stephanie Lambden. She is the Go Red for Women Director, and Rhea Hickok is the Corporate Director of Communications at Cintas Corporation. We are so glad to have you both here supporting this great event. Going to hear more in just a moment. But first, for years, they've held screenings and had wellness events in our community. And now the Center for Closing the Health Gap is expanding its mission a bit. Joining us now to explain how, we welcome President and CEO Renee Mahaffey-Harris and primary care provider Dr. Anissa Shomo. We are so glad to have you back with us today. But first, a quick headline for you on dance therapy, we call it. The Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center just released a new study, and this study shows that a common side effect of treatment in cancer survivors can improve with dance therapy. After measuring brain activity before and after the dance program, researchers discovered
it was easier for them to do complex tasks that required them to think and move at the same time.
Do other kinds of activity if dance isn't your thing, but the movement and the music do appear to play a role in this kind of recovery. Our thanks to Ohio State for providing this video. All right, on now to our top story this half hour. It is in Waiting for Life. A Miami University graduate is in need of a living donor. This is Donate Life Month, and her name is Maria Valentina Almeida. Her kidneys are failing. She's desperately trying to stay off dialysis, a process that takes hours each day to filter the blood when her own kidneys can't.
So I was actually born with a sepsis at birth, a general sepsis at birth, and a malformation that led to a lot of complications with my kidneys.
In spite of that, Maria has done everything to fulfill her dreams and graduate from college, but she's already had to have one kidney removed due to those complications.
And so now I've been living with my left kidney for the past 13-ish years, and it's slowly losing its function.
Now, a living kidney donor for transplant is the option that would give her future good health. But Andrea Johnson of Network for Hope, who joined us with Maria on our What's Happening in Health show, says that means she needs you, if you're watching this story, to be tested to see if you're a match.
We facilitate the recovery of organs and tissue for transplant, but we also, it's about getting the word out and talking about the importance of registering to be a donor, how it impacts the community, how it impacts families, and how it impacts people like this young lady, Maria.
A living donor for transplant for Maria would be life-changing, she says, in so many ways.
I want to be able to live through all the experiences, be there for my family. I have a twin sister who's getting married soon and hopefully having a family. I want to be there for her. That's a big dream of mine. Be there for my parents as they grow old. You know, there's a lot of things about life that is worth living.
So worth living. If you can donate, you're asked to call the Living Donor Organ Transplant Program at UC Health. It's 513-584-8313. Also topping this half hour, legal medicine. The Federal Drug Administration is warning of fake Ozempic, saying it could pose a safety risk. The FDA and Ozempic drug maker Novo Nordisk have found counterfeit vials of this weight loss drug being sold to consumers. The labels on the counterfeit products have a real lot number of PAR0362, but they also have a fake serial number, and the fake serial number begins with the first 8 digits of 517-46-517. If the real lot number is coupled with the fake serial number, then the product is counterfeit and should not be used. To be sure you are getting the real thing, they suggest you only buy Ozempic injections from authorized distributors of Novo Nordisk. All right, just ahead, a few signs that a loved one may need some assistance that goes beyond the care that you can provide in your own home. And Go Red for Women Stephanie and Rhea joining us. They're going to talk a little bit more about a great event coming up at Great American Ballpark. Stay with us on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Life Enriching Communities, NKADD, Hawksworth, and Aptiva Health.
In Healthy Caregiving today, what are some of the warning signs that a loved one may need care beyond what you can give at home? This is video from Serene Suites, and they provide memory care and much more for loved ones. But Caring.com says a few warning signs you may need to have a loved one in assisted living include frequent falls or accidents, difficulty moving around the house, a decline in hygiene and grooming, if they can't manage a home, or if you notice that they seem socially isolated.
So we help families that might need some assistance with somebody in their family that have dementia or any kind of cognitive impairments that can't care for their loved one at home anymore.
Serene Suites is on Red Hill Drive. Their phone number is 513-745-5000. They'd be happy to take you on a tour. Also today, Healthy Innovations. A professor at Miami University has an important lesson for all of us. She says office engagement is good for your health, and she wants all of us to know that Gen Zers, as she calls them, they often say this is how they feel about in-office work compared to working from home.
When you're in that stage of life, you are trying to form personal networks, professional networks. You're trying to learn your job, make a good impression on your boss. Those things are really hard to do remotely, and we're finding that maybe we didn't think about that in the beginning of the pandemic and the post-pandemic work era. And now we're starting to realize that that's leading to lower levels of engagement, commitment, and just things that maybe we need to pay a little closer attention to.
So Megan teaches courses at Miami University that talk about intergenerational differences. She says do not assume that younger people always want to work from home, even if they do want flexibility in the office. All right, on now to a wonderful event with the American Heart Association. We're friends. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Stephanie Lambden, and I oversee the Go Red for Women campaign here in Greater Cincinnati.
So nice to have you here, and you brought friends.
Yes, Rhea Hickok with Cintas. We're a sponsor of the event and a longtime partner of the American Heart Association.
So let's talk a little bit about why you partner with Go Red. It's a huge women's health initiative. First, tell me, what is Go Red for Women?
Yeah, so Go Red for Women movement started over 20 years ago. We're on 21 years now, and it's specifically to do research just with women's heart health. We know that we are different with our heart disease than men, and so it's educating women about their risk of heart disease and stroke, and it's getting this movement in our year-round activities that we do. But it all ends at Great American Ballpark next Friday, April 25th, where the Go Red experience will be happening.
So we're excited. We know you guys are part of that. But tell me, what are you trying to say to sort of your employees and your workers by partnering with Go Red?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't know this, but Cintas is actually the largest provider of training to the American Heart Association. So we have a first aid and safety division that does first aid training, CPR training, and AED training. And it's fantastic to have an AED on site, but people understanding how to use it is a critically important detail. So these community events are a huge part of being sure that en masse we're able to train or provide the opportunity for people to understand CPR and AED use especially.
That is really interesting, because I did read one study that there is a fair number of workplaces where people say, I don't know where it is.
Sure. Yeah, that's an issue, and also how to use it. I mean, that's something that's coming up in schools. It's also coming up in workplaces, and I think that this event is just another opportunity to help people feel confident when a critical life-saving event comes up.
And how tragic to have it there, and then those things become barriers, which is really sad. Well, you mentioned the Go Red for Women event, which is why we're here today. We just want to kind of get a little background. It is coming up. It's called the Go Red for Women Experience. We have some photos. Tell me what it is, where it is, who can come, that kind of thing.
This is our third year in a row. We're back at Great American Ballpark. So as I'm dressed today, we're encouraging you, and you can see from the photos, to move more with us. This is one of our events that you're not, just coming in, having a lunch, learning a little something. saying, we actually want you to move more with us. So we have a great expo. All of our sponsors have the opportunity to have an expo and provide their goods and just, share what their company does. But then also after our very short program piece of it, you get the opportunity to go on the field for a bullpen experience, batting practice, learn hands-only CPR in the Cincinnati Reds dugout. And then also with our friends at Cintas, they do a really cool on-field photo opportunity. So I know my first time being on the field, it was like, wow, what a cool thing. So that's really popular for a lot of people to get that photo op also that day.
I've only ever been on the field once with Bark in the Park, and it is an experience. It feels sort of, you put you in awe.
Yeah, it's very surreal.
Yeah. All right, so we want to make sure who can come to this. Who, are you inviting people to come who don't know about CPR, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's definitely something. There is tickets to attend. A lot of our companies support and everything. They get the tickets to join us that day. But if you're not with one of those companies, you can go to our website by scanning this QR code, and you can purchase your own ticket to go ahead and come out and join us that day.
I love that. I love that you do this. What do you feel like you say to, especially women, when you support, this kind of research and this kind of education?
Sure. I think it's just increase awareness. I think until I attended last year, I didn't know a lot of the statistics that are really scary. One that the American Heart Association does a great job of promoting is that women are, you'll know this percentage, much less likely to receive CPR than men.
Yeah.
So even the awareness of women have these issues, they come up, we should, get training, and also people should be willing to do CPR on women when they do have some sort of issue that would require it.
That's a really valid point. Women often do delay care as well. They won't go to the emergency room and things like that. And it's partly because we always take care of everyone else. So thank you for having a day.
Talking about that.
Yeah, thank you for having a day where maybe you could get out of work for half the day, bug your employer.
Yeah, sure. Come out and join us.
Yeah, so nice to have you guys back. We so appreciate your efforts in the community for saving lives.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Want to make sure again, that's the 25th of April, and we will put a link to that QR code in that event at what'shappeninginhealth.com. All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Just ahead, new research on being fit versus being thin. It might surprise you. And Renee and Anissa joining us. They're going to talk a newer direction for some of the programs for the Center for Closing the Health Gap. Can't wait to hear all about it next on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Miami University, the Vein Center of Cincinnati, and Lindner Center of Hope.
In Wait No More today, being fit may be more important than being thin. Don't we love to hear that, according to a new study? Researchers in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found those who have better cardio fitness levels live longer than those who are thin but do not exercise. They reviewed studies with more than 400,000 people to find this out. They found even if overweight, being fit adds years to your life.
Your heart's a muscle and needs worked in a positive way. So you strengthen your heart, it kind of becomes more relaxed, and it relieves a lot of signs and symptoms.
Now, where you carry your weight may also make a difference. More weight around the waist in previous studies is linked to a shorter lifespan as well. All right, on now to our wonderful team from the Center for Closing the Health Gap. We are friends and supporters. Renee Mahaffey-Harris is the president and CEO. And who'd you bring with you?
I brought with me the president of the Cincinnati Medical Association, Dr. Anissa Shomo, and she's also a family medicine physician.
So nice to have you here. What an honor. Tell me a little bit about your partnership with the Health Gap.
So the Cincinnati Medical Association has been partnering with the Health Gap for many years. So we are a group of diverse physicians, and so we have a similar mission. And so Renee is, the brains always organizing events, and then she reaches out to us and lets us know, hey, we need some doctors to talk about the COVID vaccine, or we need some doctors to talk about heart health. And so we are always on standby in our superhero capes.
That's not an easy thing to have with physicians, so we applaud you for that. Thank you so much. So we got the heroes here with you. But part of the reason we wanted you here today is each year, usually, you have a big expo at this time, and you said we're changing a few things this year. So let's talk about that.
So we're moving in a new direction because of our mission. we are here to close the health gap. And while the expo has been a wonderful environment to bring us all together, we couldn't follow people because we weren't registering people. And so being able to do things in a smaller setting so that we can actually register people, that we can bring in the right expertise, and that we could build a conversation that enables people to get the resources and thought processes to really begin to activate their own agency and advocacy in their health. Really, the more informed that I can be, or anyone can be, going in to see your doctor or going into the hospital, that is going to improve your outcome. And that's what the goal is. We're moving from the expo to impact, so that you can measure impact when you can measure each step of the process. And so this new direction gives us an opportunity to work with many organizations, but the Cincinnati Medical Association is our number one partner. They are physicians who are serving our community, and I think when we can break down that relationship to the fact that it can be a partnership and what it looks like to have that partnership to improve your overall health.
So we have a little video of the Health Expo. Let's just remind people that was kind of a big event.
Yes.
But many of the activities that you would do there, let's say checking blood pressure, if you do that, if you educate people and they do that with a primary care doctor, that gives a different kind of accountability, does it not?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is, you go to a big event like that and you would get health screenings, like they would do, check your sugar levels, check your blood pressure, and then it's just who follows that? Are you going to take the information to your primary care doctor? Do you have a primary care doctor? So it just brings a lot of questions that are hard to answer. And so, if you can have a smaller event where you can encourage people to have a primary care physician and try to sign them up for one, and just have a more intimate relationship with just even the way that you're interacting with the community, then it can lead to extending those intimate conversations to your own primary care physician.
And is that sort of part of the newer shifting goals?
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, we want to improve the health outcomes and we want to close the health gaps in diseases like diabetes and cardiovascular disease and some forms of cancer that are disproportionate in the prevalence within populations that are diverse, including Black, Hispanic, and other minority or marginalized groups across our community and across this country. We've always, at least for the past, I would say 6 to 7 years, been really granular in our focus with our diabetes challenge, with our healthy lifestyle initiatives, with our cardiovascular work, but most people know us as the Expo, which is wonderful, and it's wonderful that we can all get together and socialize, but now we're going to create these smaller settings for the entire community, but they're going to be focused. They're going to be focused on how to act to action, to advocate for your own health and going to the doctor and going to the hospital. Our men's health, our women's health, and our family's health. Those are the 4 pillars of work that we're going to focus on. And the diseases of diabetes, cardiovascular disease will be the top line diseases we talk about, but there are many others, such as colorectal cancer and others that are impacted by your lifestyle. So we're going more granular so that we can have conversations, so that we know that people tell each other something that is good that's happening to them. And these settings will enable us to do that, as well as build upon the work that we're already doing.
Yeah, that is excellent. And one of the things that I think kind of stopped my heart when I thought about it was you said, quite often people will go to big events, there's hoopla, whatever, but if you don't see improvement, then are we serving the way we should serve? And so I know that's part of your mission and part of what you're trying to change, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to improve the health outcomes. We want to improve the length of life. Right now, we have one of the, I don't know how to say the word, but out of 500 major cities, we are 16th in lifespan in this region, meaning that our lifespan gap is one of the biggest gaps. So if 25 years loss of life, 20 years loss of life, 16 years loss of life, that means people are dying sooner than they should. And so that's why there's a different urgency to why this direction. We want to make sure that we're partnering with our health professionals, and there are many people in that continuum of care, so that we begin to understand what we can do to activate our own agency so that we can prolong the lives of not just ourselves, but the other family members and our children. Because if we continue this continuum, we're going to have less lifespan for us.
And you know, the reason that I think in the final thought from you is one of the things that you see is it's like, oh, well, we just have a touch of sugar in our family. That's how it is. But you don't think you can change that when you can.
Right. One of the biggest things that I talk about is from being a family medicine physician is part of what we do is learn how to communicate with people and be able to translate. You know, I went to this doctor and they told me this. What do you think about that, doctor? And so a lot of what we really need is conversation where we're listening to each other, where patients are telling us their experience and their information that they know about their bodies, and we are trying to have an exchange of information. Because a lot of times it's very one-sided, you know. But if you can have a conversation where it's, you know, a dialogue versus a monologue, then that can really elevate the conversation and really elevate the health of our community and really help to close the health disparities gap that we have.
Well, excellent. Well, we look forward to having you back as you roll out these programs. I know you're starting with Men's Health, so we'll have you and hopefully some of the team back. That's part of that. And if you'd like to learn more about those, we always have a link to the Health Gap at what'shappeninginhealth.com. Thanks, you guys, so much. It's just a pleasure to share your work.
Thank you.
All right, just ahead, new concerns about the impact of CT scans. We share what you need to know in Your Healthy Rights. And we have a wonderful team from PanCan joining us. We want to welcome Nikki, Barb, and Rick. They are all here to help us learn a little bit more about Purple Stride. Stay with us on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Network for Hope, William E. Hesh Law, and Serene Sweets.
In Your Healthy Rights, a warning today about overusing CT scans. A study by UC San Francisco found that CT scans may account for as much as 5% of all cancers in the future. The greatest risk is for infants and children. CT scans can save lives by detecting tumors and diagnosing diseases, however, and that's why they're important, but they should not be overused. Finally, this half hour in Hope You Know, which is what we hope you know about your mental health each week. Psychologists are concerned, and they put out an opinion paper in the journal Cell Press, and it warns that AI relationships can interfere with human relationships. That's because AI relationships obviously seem easier. AI companions can even give harmful advice, researchers found. The paper cites at least 2 people who committed suicide after receiving AI chatbot advice. All right, just ahead, a special program on women's health. We're going to tell you where you can find some answers to your questions on prenatal care, menopause, and much more. It's in our next half hour on What's Happening in Health.
The headline medical stories that affect you and your family. This is What's Happening in Health, sponsored by TriHealth.
Morning again and welcome back, everybody, to our third half hour here on What's Happening in Health. Got a great rest of the show for you today. We start with PanCan. They are getting ready for an inspirational day to celebrate pancreatic cancer survivors and to honor families. And here to tell us more about Purple Stride, Barb, Nikki, and Rick. They are all joining us. Can't wait to share a bit more of their stories of hope. But first, a quick headline for you. The TriHealth Women's Services team is expanding. They've added 22 OBGYN providers from the 7 Hills practices in the tri-state. Their goal, they say, is to improve access to quality care. They've also added a program that specifically is designed to help those with symptoms of perimenopause and menopause.
Our goal is to provide the highest quality care as well as the safest care to women in our community. And that means from the time that they're born until the time that they die. And we know while TriHealth is often known for the obstetrical care that we provide, there's so much more that happens in women's health besides having a baby.
So that's why they've expanded those menopause programs. If you'd like to learn more about those or other women's health care throughout the life cycle, you can go to our special online. It is called Changing the Conversation. We have a link to it at what'shappeninginhealth.com. All right, now to our top story this half hour. It is in our Donor of the Week, and this week we are highlighting a woman who gives not for recognition, but simply because she can. We'd like you to meet Debbie Lemker, who is a regular donor at the Hawksworth Mobile Unit. She says giving back is just something that makes sense, especially when you're healthy and you're able.
There's no reason not to. I'm healthy and it's needed, and not everybody necessarily qualifies, and I do, and why not? To help people, It's important because I would surely want to have that donation if I was in need.
The mobile unit, always all around town. And if you're interested in donating blood to Hawksworth this month as a thank you, you'll receive this limited time Cincinnati Reds hat. To schedule an appointment, you can call 513-451-0910. The blood that you donate does stay here in the tri-state area, and it is promised to area hospitals based on those appointments. All right, just ahead, how to stay fit while dealing with Parkinson's disease. And Barb, Nikki, and Rick hanging out with us. They're going to raise awareness of pancreatic cancer and the PanCan Walk. They'll tell us all about it next on What's Happening in Health.
This portion is sponsored by Good Samaritan College of Nursing and Health Science and the Mental Health Recovery Board of Warren and Clinton Counties.
In Aging Gracefully today, you can keep your heart forever young by keeping up the pace while you walk. Research published in the journal Heart showed that people who had an average or brisk walking speed of about 35 to 45% higher than the average speed have a lower risk of heart abnormalities, such as an irregular heartbeat. People who walked at a slower pace had a higher chance of certain heart concerns. In healthy conditions today, April is Parkinson Appreciation Month, and the team at the Parkinson Community Fitness, a program open to those with movement challenges in Blue Ash, is showing the love. They not only offer classes, such as this circuit training program, but since Parkinson's impacts speech and movement, the team here also started a written campaign so those in the group can let others know how much they care.
It's being accepting of people that may look different than us, maybe have different memory issues, maybe have different facial expressions, or shake or be dyskinetic. Acceptance.
Now, we do have a phone number if you'd like more information on Parkinson Community Fitness. They have several programs. They're just $25 a month. The number 513-793-6683. All right, well, it is just delightful to have a team here that was also part of last year's walk, because that means you're healthy and well enough to walk. Tell us who you are.
I'm Barb Thornton. I am a pancreatic cancer survivor, yet still in treatment. I am currently receiving immunotherapy.
How's it going?
I've been clear for about 1.5 years.
Hallelujah.
I know.
Wow.
I'm a walking, talking miracle.
Yeah, so much. And how you doing, Nikki?
I'm doing great, and so I'm also a pancreatic cancer survivor of 3 years. Just had my recent scan on Monday, so it's all clean, all good.
They have that scan-anxiety they talk about.
It is scan-anxiety, and it is for the caregivers too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's until you get that My Chart result, and then you meet with your doctor as a follow-up appointment, you're like, phew, I made it through this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have that role of caregiver, friend, husband, all those things. Tell us a little bit about how you've been the supporter in all this.
Well, good morning, Liz, and thanks for asking that question. I mean, Nikki went through 6 months of chemotherapy, 28 radiation treatments, and she's been through 3 surgeries now, and it's been my honor and pleasure to accompany her along the way. I mean, I tell her every day she's my hero, and she has so much strength and so much determination to push through that. I just don't have the right words to say how appreciative I am for all that she's gone through.
We need to clone him, don't we?
We do.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Yeah, it's so nice
right?
to hear you say that. Because, you probably feel like it's hard. You almost feel, do you feel like, you never want to be like that giant sucking sound in the room where you're pulling somebody down that you love.
That's right.
Yeah.
I really believe that it's as difficult for the caregivers as it is, patients. We know what we have to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, our fight is just to get through the treatment, get through the next day, and yes, 1 minute it might be, Bob Evans mashed potatoes in the microwave, and then the caregiver will come to the bedroom door and say, "Did you just order La Rosa's pizza?" I'm like, my memory's telling me it sounds good today. So it's up and down all the time.
That's funny. But you know what? That's a great story, because if you can tolerate that stuff and you do well, you want to always enjoy the little small moments.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Well, you are here today, we know, because there's a wonderful program coming up called the Purple Stride.
Yes.
You all have teams. We have a few photos of your team. So let's talk about your team and what you're raising money for and all that.
My daughter found PanCan and started my team, Barb's Believers. Yeah, we've been doing it since 22. and I bake to raise money.
We love that.
And I'm just happy to be a part of raising funds for cancer research, so we can get more awareness, more. They provide patient services and cancer research, so I feel like that's why I'm still here.
Yeah, no question.
Absolutely.
There's a purpose and you're fulfilling it.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're going to do a whole thing on just your baking. She's quite the baker. How does it feel when you have just hundreds of people surrounding you? I know you do this at
East Fork Lake Beach.
Yes. But you have hundreds that show up. What does that feel like when you get that kind of support?
Well, it's usually about a couple thousand. To see that sea of purple shirts, it's kind of overwhelming in a good way, because there's a lot of families that have lost someone. So they're there in honor of their family members that weren't like Barb and I, so successful. And there'll be probably about 15 other survivors, wouldn't you say, Barb?
That's the first place I've ever seen survivors.
That is just, we just embrace each other because we know what they've gone through and what they continue to go through. And all the caregivers, so they share what we've gone through. So it's just, we're so excited that it's finally here. I hope the weather turns out for us.
I hope that too. And we want to put up some information. We're going to have you guys stick around. But Rick, I wonder, you've got to kind of feel the love there too, don't you?
Absolutely. And when Nikki was first diagnosed, I of course went to the internet just to see what is out there in the way of cures and treatments and statistics, and it's a very depressing story out on the internet, and there's very little in the way of optimism or feelings that you can get a cure on this. And we found PanCan, and they had stories about survivors. They were amazing in terms of their ability to interact with each patient, give them information on clinical trials, give them information on how to characterize their tumor. And with pancreatic cancer, it's the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States, soon to become the second. There's no early detection test for it or anything like that. So it's just so important that you listen to your body, look for signs and symptoms, and do everything that we can to generate money for pancreatic cancer research.
Well, we are going to have you stick around for our second half hour or second interview, because we want to talk about that research. You're making progress in the KROS and things like that, and what you do really makes a difference. So stand by. And just ahead, we're going to go to some other health news and then come back to them. It is the hottest procedure to reduce tired-looking eyes. We're going to explain how it works coming up in Look Good, Feel Better.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Northern Kentucky Audiology, the Center for Closing the Health Gap, and Journey Light.
In Gut Instinct today, if you are looking for a good snack to help your gut bacteria, they say healthy edamame is recommended. Edamame are young soybeans that are picked before they're fully ripened. They are high in gut-friendly fiber, plant-based protein, and healthy fats. Now, these are these little beans, but they have big health benefits if you regularly eat edamame. It's been linked to lower cholesterol, healthy blood sugar levels, and healthier microbiomes in your gut, as well as strong bones from the calcium and healthy blood pressure. In Look Good, Feel Better today, one of the most popular procedures to help your eyes look a little refreshed and less tired is called the upper eyelid lift, or upper blepharoplasty. Dr. John Mendelson of the Advanced Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center recently performed this on a patient. He told us how it's performed.
It's about a 20-minute procedure performed under local anesthesia. She'll come in, we'll give her a little oral medication, a little Valium, so she'll be relaxed. We're going to measure and mark very carefully the amount of redundant skin she has. We'll numb it up just like you would a little skin cancer, a little mole or something. We excise that skin, we remove the skin and a little bit of fatty tissue from the eyelid, and we close it with one stitch. It goes back and forth underneath the skin, and that is an upper blepharoplasty.
Those results do last about 20 years. It's a pretty low-risk procedure, but it does take several weeks for complete healing. Costs about $15,000, and in most cases, it's not covered by your medical insurance plan. If you'd like more details, however, you can call 513-351-3223. All right, we want to talk to Barb, Nikki, and Rick a little bit more, because you guys are raising money for research. Where are you seeing hope and promise?
Well, for one, just the advances that are being made that we hear through UC Health, it just seems like we're just so close to making headway in treatment options. And I mean, I'm on immunotherapy right now, and it was just a seismic shift from stage 4 metastatic to clear scans and normal blood work. And
there are people for years where they see that, and it's using your own immune system, for people not familiar, to sort of fight back, which is completely different than what we've ever had. And then you mentioned that you have a friend that's in a trial. Tell me a little bit about that.
So my friend Kathy, we've known each other over 50 years. After my Whipple, which was December 23rd, 2021.
And a Whipple, by the way, is a pancreatic surgery that's pretty high tech.
And it removes part of your pancreas. 6 months later, I get a call from my friend Kathy in tears. And she said, I've just been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So her journey has been chemotherapy for 2.5 years. And then the tumors started changing, increasing in size. So one of our friends at UC has really educated us about the clinical trial. And right here in Cincinnati, Rice Hospital, and also UC, we've got this clinical trial available. Other cities don't. And it's having great success. Some of these patients, stage 4 pancreatic cancer patients, are in remission. So Kathy has been on this clinical trial for 4 months now, and her tumors are shrinking. She's inoperable. She can never have an operation like Barb and I have. So that's her result right now. And she couldn't be here today, but the group picture, she's in the middle. So, and I'm just so happy for her and her family.
When she's feeling better, tell her she's welcome back. We definitely want to have that. And I believe, is that the KROS trial?
It is.
Okay. So the KROS is supposed to, we had some people on just a couple weeks ago to kind of switch off some of what encourages growth. Yeah. And I know for you, you're watching a loved one, hearing there are options has just got to be so heartwarming.
It is. It absolutely is. I mean, the clinical trial here in Cincinnati at Christ and UC, Dr. Andrew Waters has done amazing research through his center here. There's also work going on with an mRNA vaccine that would either be preventive or curative. So hopefully with more research dollars flowing to this type of research, maybe we can see a cure or certainly something that will send this into a manageable disease or remission. So.
Yeah, no question. And we are here talking about the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is holding their Purple Stride coming up on
Saturday, April 26th.
And you can join Barb's team, you can join Nikki's team, you can just hang out with the whole group here. And did you say, is that the picture that has Kathy in it?
Yes, that's a picture. So Kathy is really right in front of Rick.
Oh.
So that's Kathy. Yay, Kathy.
We love to hear that.
She's doing so great.
All right, so before I let you guys go, one thing we don't hear quite very often is, did you have symptoms? Is there anything we should be looking out for? Because everybody's a little different.
There are a lot of people that don't have symptoms. I was lucky, believe it or not, saying that, lucky with pancreatic cancer, lucky to have about 5 or 6 of the symptoms. And Barb, you had symptoms as well.
What were
and
they?
Those symptoms are typically lower back pain, abdominal, nausea, bilirubin, jaundice. Your stools change in color. And what else was it? Now my hands itched at night. It was like poison ivy. So that was also another symptom.
I had a friend diagnosed with breast cancer, and she said she started noticing an itch on the side of her breast.
Interesting.
How that does
Didn't
that.
hear that either.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's so many individuals. We have a survivor in our group. Now, she's been a survivor for 6 years. She never had one symptom, but she was getting ready to have cataract surgery on one of her eyes, and her physician said, let's just get a blood test before the surgery. Okay, great. Well, her numbers, her liver enzymes were a little elevated. He's like, I need to do another test. Bottom line, she had pancreatic cancer.
And that's why those routine blood tests and your doctor's appointments each year are important.
So important.
Did you have similar symptoms?
I had such sharp pains here. Any shift in my torso would just absolutely send me through the roof. I couldn't I had started losing weight. And again, I could have afforded to lose it, but like drinking anything with bubbles, eating just hurt.
Huh.
And I was a caregiver. I'm a home health aide, so I was taking care of someone else, and it wasn't until he ended up in the hospital that I was able to take care of myself and advocate for myself, because it still took 6 weeks from my first appointment to be diagnosed.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So I want to give you the final thought, because one of the things that happens is they're talking about these and you're hearing it, and we all should be sort of encouraging each other to seek medical care, should we not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Preventive care is just so important. And the pancreas is shaped like a pear. The narrow end is off to the side, and a lot of times pancreatic cancer can start there. You will have no symptoms until it gets to the head of the pancreas, where it begins to impinge on like the common bile duct and the liver and the stomach and that sort of thing. So it's just so important to pay attention to symptoms, get annual physical done, get blood tests done every year, and really pay attention to it, because you never know what's going to happen, and it's so critical to stay on top of that.
But we always say health doesn't mean anything until you don't have it.
That's
so
exactly
true.
it.
Well,
You are
Team
so
Barb,
right.
Team Nikki, Team
Yay.
Rick, we're so glad you guys
Thank
are
you.
here. We're going to be continuing to support your journey. Can't
Thanks
wait to
so
have
much.
Thank you so much for all you're
you.
doing.
Remember, it's coming up April
26th, next Saturday.
We have a link to that at what'shappeninginhealth.com. All right, guys, thanks. We'll be out there cheering you on. All right, just ahead, a new study about lowering the risk of dementia. We're going to tell you a few things to remember on What's Happening in Health.
This portion of What's Happening in Health is sponsored by Mount St. Joseph University, Elder Law Lawyers, and Advanced Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center.
I want to leave you today with just a couple of headlines in your so vein. If you're the type of person who is extra sensitive to cold or has like ice cold feet, this may apply to you. A study in Taiwan found people who are extra sensitive to cold have a 50 to 90% heightened risk of having varicose veins. This according to another finding of the study. People who have jobs that involve standing as well for longer periods also have a much higher chance of those veins. They can be addressed at the Vein Center of Cincinnati. Sometimes this is covered by your medical insurance plan as well. 513-232-2400. They will do virtual consults at no charge if you'd like to see if your veins can be reduced or be corrected and made a little less painful. In Healthy on the Go, Metro gained feedback from local residents on a proposed fare restructuring in 3 public meetings this past week. The meetings provided an opportunity for the public to learn about the proposed changes and share a bit of feedback. They also learned more about the new Rider Rewards program we're going to be hearing a bit about. It launched on the 16th, and there's a new feature called Ride and Save, aimed to reduce costs of using transit for frequent riders. All feedback that they received by April the 25th of this year is part of public record. It will be considered by Metro as we learn more about these changes. We will continue to share them as they are implemented. In high-tech health today, new study finds technology use may be associated with a lower risk for dementia. The review of previous studies investigated the digital dementia hypothesis, as it's called, and it argues that a lifetime of use of technology may increase reliance on technology. And researchers actually thought it would weaken cognition ability over time. But instead, it was really interesting. What they found was the analysis of 57 studies from more than 400,000 older adults. And they found technology use was actually associated with a 42% lower risk of cognitive impairment, helps use our brain in a different way. Study may support a different theory that exposure to complex mental activities leads to better cognitive well-being in older age. One of the study's authors says that they are finding that there's not a blanket endorsement for mindless scrolling, but it might help if you like to play games or do a few things with technology. Study was published in the journal Nature Human Behavior. Well, that is it for this week. We do want to remind you that at what'shappeninginhealth.com, we have our Women's Health special with TriHealth called Changing the Conversation. We hope you check it out. If you missed it last night, we'll be back same time next week. Hope that you will be too. Until then, everybody stay well and stay tuned.